Right now is the best time in history to learn Japanese. It has never been this easy. Now, I speak with Japanese learners every single day and I've noticed 6 methods that they are using to progress way faster than normally. And to make sure it's real, I've tried all of them in my own study, and I'm not exaggerating when I tell you that it feels like steroids for language learning. And so in this video I'll break down those 6 tricks that made it possible for anyone to get fluent fast. First of all, studying grammar is completely dead. Nobody really does it these days. The moment that I stopped studying Japanese grammar, it actually got way better, and really quickly in a couple months I progressed from struggling with forming sentences to being able to have conversations with natives in Tokyo, Osaka, just having fun, enjoying my life speaking Japanese naturally. And it's not just me, it's the people you see shocking Japanese natives on TikTok, Instagram. I've spoken to them and I know exactly which methods they're using, and this is exactly what they are doing. They do not obsess over grammar, they only listen to natural Japanese. They sometimes go to the extent of not even studying kanji, and they still speak amazingly. They have an amazing accent, they are able to shock natives and make this viral content in Japanese. And it's all because they can sound natural, because they don't overanalyze the grammar in their head. They've listened to thousands of hours of Japanese content, and so every time they speak it comes so naturally to them just because they've heard it being said thousands of times. If you want to learn directly from me about this specific method where I will walk you by hand, explain the whole process clearly, I do that in my Japanese IQ community. The first link in the description. There's a bunch of students already studying, getting results, feeling like this is finally working. So if that sounds interesting to you, I'll see you inside. The second tactic that successful Japanese learners are using to achieve fluency in a really short amount of time is focusing on sounds but delaying output. So what does that mean? First of all, delaying output means that they just do not speak the language early on. This is fairly simple. And you might be like, oh, but what do you mean don't speak early on? How am I gonna learn how to speak? It's actually completely backwards. You do not learn to speak by speaking. It's actually that you first of all need to have this strong mental image of how the language is supposed to be spoken, and how you do it? It is by extensive listening. So if you've listened to hundreds and thousands of hours of Japanese content, it stays in your head and you know exactly how it sounds, then the speaking ability comes naturally. But there's one mistake that kills everything and actually ruins progress. Even for people who spend a long time listening, they sometimes are not able to speak at all because they only listen and treat the language as a language that is only supposed to be listened to. It means that instead of the language being interactive, it's only passive. So firstly, yes, you do want to spend a long time listening without speaking at all, but the whole point of it is to tell your brain that Japanese isn't just a language that you have to listen to. It's actually a language that you subconsciously need to learn how to be able to output, how to speak that language. Because if you don't do it, if you only listen to Japanese, you will simply not have the need to learn how to speak, and so you won't learn how to speak. So again, delay output, don't speak early on when you don't even know how the language sounds. Then start by practicing pronunciation, shadowing, chorusing, exercises like this, and then progress to speaking with natives. Right now you might be thinking, okay, but what exactly do I watch in Japanese? How do I find that native audio? What most of the successful Japanese learners that I talk to actually do is, instead of watching anime or some beginner material, they're actually going heavily on YouTube videos. And why is that? There's a couple factors at play. First of all, YouTube is very natural. It's people usually talking without a script, talking casually with their friends, if you're watching vlogs or some lifestyle content. So it is very natural Japanese, exactly how these people talk in real life. So this is just the perfect way to learn native pronunciation, native speech patterns, and just how natives interact with each other. But the second thing is that YouTube, compared to anime, movies, or anything simply, is very dense in speech. So let's say you're watching a movie in Japanese. the percentage of that movie which is actually spoken Japanese may be like 50%, because you can imagine there's a bunch of transitions, there's like a fighting scene, there's like two characters looking at each other without saying a word. But YouTube videos, on the other hand, 90% of them could actually be speech, so you listen to way more Japanese in 20 minutes that you spend on YouTube compared to 20 minutes that you spend watching anime or Netflix shows. And what most of the people that actually get fluent really fast using this method, they actually spend more like 2, 3, 4 hours watching these YouTube videos and immersing. So this is actually the main thing that they're all using. This is the kind of basis of the whole study of the Japanese language that all the people that get fluent actually use. The fourth tactic, which is what actually makes you progress even faster using all the methods mentioned before, is obsessing over one specific topic. This is a concept called language islands. Imagine your Japanese learning journey like a sail through a bunch of islands on the sea. You go to one island, which is the island of natural speech, for example. You conquer that island, you learn everything there is about natural speech, and then you sail to the next island, which, for example, is vocabulary about biology or about food. Then you learn all the vocabulary in that specific island and you move on to the next. And this is actually way faster than going at the whole language at once. Just because there's only a set amount of vocabulary in that specific niche, that specific field of knowledge kind of. Which means if you only watch videos about gardening, for example, very quickly you will learn all of the Japanese there is about the gardening. And to take it to the extreme, what some people do, and it helps them achieve even faster results, is that they only watch one creator on YouTube. So imagine watching only one YouTuber, let's say he has 300 videos, you go from the first video and you watch every single one. You can imagine that after listening to one person for a couple hundred hours, you will sound exactly like them, you will learn all of the vocabulary that they use. You will understand them 100%. The fifth tactic has to do with productivity, and this is what lets busy people outperform unemployed learners with 10 hours of free time every single day. If you have too much time to study Japanese, let's say it's summer vacation right now, you're free all day, you have 10 hours free every single day. This means that you won't appreciate the time that you have enough, and you might end up just watching YouTube videos in Japanese, not even focused, getting distracted, playing on your phone, scrolling, playing video games on your PC, and you just won't learn anything. But compare 5 hours of studying like that, distracted, not even focused, jumping between topics, to 1 hour of targeted study where you watch high density content, mastering one specific language island, or even watching one YouTuber. With all of your presence, you're fully focused, you're able to listen to all of the little details of the language. This is what helps you to fit 5 hours of studying Japanese into 1 hour and still get amazing results. The last tactic is making Japanese friends, and this could be the very most important thing you actually do in all of your Japanese learning journey, just because of the amount of motivation that it gives you. Let's say you have a Japanese friend or a Japanese girlfriend. If you're able to speak to her every couple days on a call, if you're able to maintain that relationship, your motivation to learn this language is actually going to skyrocket. And not only that, you will have a reason to study the language and to practice it during the conversation with that specific person. This is connected with what we've spoken about earlier today, which was having a reason to practice spoken Japanese, to make the language interactive. Compare the person who only watches content in Japanese to understand anime or whatever, with the person that watches that same content, but instead of it just flowing passively through him not giving a shit about it, he thinks how he can use the vocabulary that he's learning in the next conversation with his friend or his girlfriend. This is what takes you from watching Japanese passively, not really giving a shit about what's going on, to actually enjoying the study way more, because every single time you encounter a new sentence, every single time you encounter a new vocabulary, you think about how you're going to use that new word or new expression in the conversation with your friend. If you use all of the tactics that you've learned in today's video, you'll also be able to become one of these people that get fluent really fast and shock natives in Japan. And if you want to get my help in learning Japanese with the objective of actually making Japanese friends and growing meaningful relationships in Japanese, the link in the description is my Japanese IQ program. I'm waiting for you there. Thank you for watching and see ya.